Hey, Janet here. So in this video, I'm going to give some simple tips on really how I go about making business to business cold calls. And I really mostly work with small businesses. And, you know, a lot of people, they can sell. Their challenge is getting the new leads. So I specialize in B2B lead generation for small businesses. And I use a real simple method. I make a really nice introduction. What I know about marketing, selling, it's not always you're going to get the decision maker on the phone on a very first call. So knowing that, it's really about making a connection, starting a relationship, having relevant information, finding out if the prospect even might be interested or in the market. So a little bit of pre-qualification can be done, maybe with a gatekeeper or an employee or someone that works at the company. So that's just real general information. You probably already know that. So I tell everybody my introduction is real simple. I don't think it's that different from most people I've worked with. I actually work with a lady, and I admire her. I consider her kind of my mentor. She just has a really nice way of approaching people. And I always say, I give my name up front. My name is Janet Schick, and I'm calling on behalf of ABC Company. I may even say I'm calling on behalf of John Smith at ABC Company. I think the more I personalize it, the better I do. And then I give, the reason for the call. We'd like to schedule a meeting. And I may say something like I have John Smith as the owner. I'm assuming he would be the decision maker. However, I don't know if that's up to date or not. And I was hoping you could direct me as to who I should reach out to initially, because sometimes I do call on medium or even large size businesses, and some of them will have an executive assistant that I'm often referred to. That's great. I'm making progress as to who the decision maker is. I know they have an executive assistant. Now, if I myself call on small business owners, so I may say I see John Smith as the owner. Is that still current? If you could direct me on that, please. So I'm asking the gatekeeper for their direction. And when I open that way, I find, I'm going to say like 95% of the time, they're going to give me some information like, yes, John is the owner. He's at a meeting or he's out of the office. Can I take a message? Or they may give an email. So you're starting that process. And then sometimes the gatekeeper will even say, we were talking about how we were wanting to do some lead generation, maybe make some changes this year. And that might be something that he might be interested in. So I know that there's a possibility. We can't make decisions for other people, but oftentimes a gatekeeper can give some initial information so I know if it's a worthwhile company to follow up with. So I often leave a lot of voicemail messages, and I structure those in a certain way. And I also, if I can get an email from the gatekeeper, often that will happen. I would say probably a good 80% of the time they will give an email. The reason I have this initial approach, it establishes trust. I'm not trying to be tricky or they know that I'm being upfront and honest, and I have my full phone number. I'm willing to give a company's website, my full name. Trust is so important in today's world because so many people are getting scammed. I get plenty of those scam types of calls. And so having that good, strong foundation to start with really makes that huge difference. And I think a lot of times when I talk with people, for example, I worked with a lady and it was in a call center, and she probably made 1 or 2 calls per hour. And she was like, I just don't want to sound stupid. And so she was scared to make the calls. She wanted to do a lot of research, and research is good. I might make a minute or 2 research before I make a call, see their website, things like that. And there's other sites that I also help small businesses where you can gain who the owner is. You may already know about them, but you just don't really think about it. But, a lot of this I've self-taught. Some of it I learned in the very beginning, working with management that was really, really good training. So I know how important it can be. Now, basically, the way that I help, so I can help you develop a list. If you already have a list and you just want someone to call through it, I can help with that. If you have a staff member that you'd like to make the calls, so you want, maybe I could help by making some calls, record my voicemail messages, So you know the general gist of the messaging I'm trying to send out, that then a staff member could say, oh, that doesn't seem so difficult after all. Because I feel like if I can do this and I could learn, I wasn't born to do marketing and sales. I really had great training, and I just learned the power of the phone calls and how it can really put you on a fast track, because people will tell you if they're interested or not. And most people that even if they're not interested, they'll usually tell you why. They may say, "Oh, we outsource that. We don't do anything in house," or "I'm getting ready to retire. Just no need." So that's okay. You're whittling down to find those that are interested, because you might make 100 outbound calls. If I'm calling on small businesses, I may talk to 20 or 30 owners, and I might set maybe 10 or 15 appointments, and maybe, 2, 3, 4, 5 will actually do business with me. And that's just general numbers. With, you can kind of decide on your industry, because some industries could take a year before you actually close on a deal. So, all those factors are things to think about and consider. But what I find can make a huge difference is that initial call. When you call and you have a very strong foundation, you're upfront and honest, you find out if they might be interested, you gain an email, you leave messages, you're going to find people are going to appreciate that. And they're more likely to answer your call when you do make follow-up calls. And sometimes that can take anywhere from 5 to 10 follow-up calls. And some people say, my gosh, that just seems like a huge mountain to climb. And it can seem that way. But when you start with a high quality list, and you may have a list, or I can help you obtain a list, it still takes those calls to find out who is going to be interested, and who can I see, okay, this is a website, this company really may be, I know they're in the market for what I or my customers offer. So you can do a little bit of pre-qualification, but making that call, you can then further qualify. And maybe you're someone you just want to practice, whether it's your marketing or your sales presentation. I can help with that. I can help develop a list. I can help just with one-on-one coaching, or even make the calls for you. I'm at a point where I'm happy to do that, but I like doing very short-term projects, and then helping people to hire someone in-house to continue further. And so it's not about being pushy. It's not about being, you have to push yourself, but you don't want to be pushy to the prospects you're calling. It's about making a connection, starting that relationship, seeing if there's any level of interest at all. And then when you have that simple method set up, it actually can be a lot of fun. Because I used to work at a place where we were all salespeople, and we would take turns on the phone, because it was where it's like you didn't want to spend all your time doing the lead generation. But when you do a little bit of lead generation, you start to get busy with your prospects that are going to turn into customers. And we just had fun with it. And we would listen to each other, and it just became fun. So it really created that positive energy in the workplace that, a lot of people are stressed out nowadays, and it can seem difficult. It can seem overwhelming. It can seem like a huge mountain to climb. But when you have that support, encouragement, and you just know, you trust the method, the system, the process, it works. So if you have questions, or you want to schedule a time to talk with me, go to my website, phonecalls@convert.com, or you can give me a call. All my information's on the website, and let's talk, and let's get you started on the road to success. Thanks so much.